Good evening, viewers, and welcome once again to Afrique 24. And today we have got a very, very hot show lined up for you. And as you know, a lot is happening in Kenya. There is the controversial show, the controversial play that is causing a lot of anger in the political scene in Kenya. Again, we are looking at the economic stability of our country, the grassroots elections that are going to happen in UDA, the chaos in the ODM delegates elections, and many more. Drama also in parliament as ladies are fighting over men in our parliament. These people have become horrible members, not honorable members. So we are here with my guest this evening. We have got Brother Ben. Ben, karibu sana kwa studio, and Jimmy Okanga. Jimmy has been away for a while. Jimmy, welcome to Afrique once again. Today we are doing a recap of the week of what has transpired in the political scene in Kenya, especially. A lot has been happening, and we have to dive in and see what the politicians are saying and Kenyans generally. Because here on Afrique, we give you the balanced civic education that you need when you are making decision on August 2027. We must make a very cautious decision on how we are going to vote and how we are going to elect our leaders. As you all know, there's a lot of corruption in our country. Some of these things we have to highlight them. We have to tell you, in the absence of parliament, in the absence of the opposition, then the fourth estate and the social media platform has to occupy that particular space. Now, karibu sana, Brother Ben, and tell us where you are. Welcome to the show.
So much. This is Brother Benson. I'm usually around. I'm around here at the show.
You
And
are
you, yeah,
around. Okay, Brother Ben. Nice to see you.
you too.
Jimmy, you say a word after being lost, the lost brother. Mtoto mpotevu. Karibu sana, Jimmy.
Asante sana Nick. Mtoto mpotefu si ule anapotea sana, ni ule tu anapotea kidogo, ndio hata mnaweza ni miss, mnitafute. Yes, but I'm happy to be back here. I know we have very interesting topics that we will be tackling tonight, but the most important thing is that thank you for the good job you guys are doing, keeping Kenyans aware, and most importantly, the platform that we can actually hear this. Asante sana.
All right, Jimmy, before you even go ahead, I would first say, we are always honored to have you on the show. You being a politician and somebody who is very, very articulate on the issues that are happening in our country and around the globe. Karibu sana. But I would want you to weigh in on this particular subject of echoes of war, the controversy around that particular play. And what do you think about the arrest of Cleophas Malala and the kind of censorship that is happening in Kenya? Are we going back to the days, the dark days of Moi and the Kenyatta regime? What do you think?
Well, it's really an interesting topic. These kids were actually doing their part, which is informing what is the current status of our country. Unfortunately, the current government thought that that's a threat. Now, when you see a government that is threatened by just kids that are actually entertaining the people, that is very wrong. But this is not something new from this current government. It's something that has been happening since Ruto became president, and this is only two years to his election. We don't know what we are going to be seeing or incurring the next 2 years. So that's why it's important that such small things that are happening, especially on our kids, they need to be condemned, and not only condemned, but they need to be brought into, there's so many probably people that were not even aware what happened to these ladies or girls. It's good that platforms like yours bringing those kind of news outside here so that people can be actually be informed of what they chose, the government of the day, and they are responsible of whatever happened today 100%. Now arresting Mr. Marara will be a big mistake. I don't know when Ruto will run that what he's just doing is actually making Marara more popular as opposed to what he thinks that he's doing. There is everything wrong in arresting one honorable Marara, because what you are actually sending out there is that you are bringing attention of the wrong things that he was doing to these girls. That is what he's just done. Because if had he not arrested, we couldn't even probably be knowing what is actually. Let me tell you this: had they not even allowed those ladies to play their play, we couldn't even know what was in that play. Now we are actually curious. What was this play about? That everyone is trying to Google. Everyone is trying to find out what these ladies were going to play. So it's wrong in every corner, and I think it's just the people who are advising the president. They're actually letting him down.
All right. I think you're right. You're very, very right. This is something that we should condemn. But there are some people out there who are saying, I don't know whether Brother Ben, you echo their statements, that, politics should not be brought in our schools. People are saying that this is something that should not be brought in our school. If you want to settle political scores, wait for elections. Brother Ben, what do you think about it?
What I think is sometimes we are not very true to ourselves, and we have to ask ourselves what is politics. Because when you look at how evolution in terms of even in the leadership in schools, during your days, I don't think whether you had an opportunity to campaign in school to be elected by the fellow students, and by them giving that freedom to students, they are encouraging them to have what we call the leadership of accountability and transparency, and that is politics. And if you look even the politics, the people who connects the teachers with the students, or the communication bridge, is the students that they've elected. They're the people who are communicating with the students. Even you come to colleges, you have the politics is taking the center stage. The issue we have is that the people or the leaders themselves, they're not true to themselves. Sometimes they take or they make comments that they feel suits them. If it doesn't suit them, then they make it on a negative way. And this one can be given an example of Kipchumba Murkomen when he was the CS right now for Interior, when the first time when he came into the Senate, when the shackles of doom was having the same controversy, he came out and he was saying, why was that one happening? But right now, because the play is kind of like depicting what is taking place currently in the country, he tends to defend. So that's where we are. I tend to disagree with the leaders. Instead of even going to the nitty-gritty of what is happening, because when an issue like that happens, we need to go back and sit down and have a conversation and say, where did we go wrong? If it was wrong, and how can we correct this? And if we are correct, or if there are things that we need to do, what are these things? But like what you see right now, it's those factions that coming out. One thing with our country, once there's an issue, it usually being politicized, and we lose the real issues and we go into the politics. So that is what is happening. But I don't think this is new. Even today in Nigeria, there's a musician who is banned, especially songs. The song that he released the other day, he's banned because he was talking to the son of the president and telling the son of the president, please go tell your father. of how Nigerians are feeling. So the ministry in charge of I think in the charge of entertainment and all that, so that song should not be played in any of the radio station and the TV station. And that is the characteristics of Africa, the leadership of Africa, whereby they don't want to be told the truth. So if you tell them the truth, you become an enemy. So that is what I think.
I agree with you. I agree with you because one thing leaders here can't accept criticism. But you look at it also this way. We went to school, and when we were doing literature, we learned books like Betrayal in the City, yeah, Kilio Chaaki, things like that. We learned a lot of. Ngugi wa Thiong'o was sent to exile by President Daniel Moi, and he lives somewhere in the US. And it is because of that literature and that expression. And when did we start saying that these books should not be taught in schools? And they were rehearsed in drama festivals and all that, and we saw it. Moid never made a big deal out of it. I think Uhuru Kenyatta would have simply laughed it off and said, we are paying attention to small nitty-gritties that we should not pay attention to. I think the way I look at it is that the political players are very idle. The president of the Republic of Kenya is very, very idle. How do you focus your energy and the security to a political play, to a play, a drama festival that is happening in the school? Yeah. And being that Kenya, we are very, very political, it doesn't make sense. Jimmy, does it really make sense for, the president to wake up one day and say, you should not play that in the drama festival? And suppose they won and traditionally they have to play it in State House for him to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very funny, but
Why can't he take it positively?
you see the problem why he can't take it positively, because this is a Moi student, and the time of Moi student, like what Ben was saying, this politics wasn't in most high schools. We never usually had that kind of a way of electing leaders within our schools. So everything was dictatorial. Like you were told this and you have to follow that. But now of late, kids or students actually do real politics. Like they use money to elect themselves president or secretary of education and all that stuff, and that has actually brought some kind of awareness and some confidence in these kids. Did you see what those kids were doing actually after they were refused to play? Is the words they were saying, they had courage. In fact, I really haven't followed it up that much, but they did say that they can't actually even play that play until their director has been released. That's a big message right there. But what there's something that you said very important, and I don't know if you realize what you just said, is that the government is idle. It's idle to even actually bring this thing into the news. It's idle. They have nothing to do. They really have nothing to do with Kenyans. And basically what they're doing is they're looking to shut every mouth that is coming out talking anything negative about them. That's their job, instead of bringing development issues to the people. They have absolutely nothing to offer Kenyans, and the only thing to do is for those ones who are voicing, that they just want to shut the voice. And that is the biggest problem that we have in Kenya. I hope that, like you said, if it was Kibaki, if it was Uhuru, we'll just probably laugh it out, and that will just die a natural death. But I'm glad. I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did this, because now you and we are talking about this. I'm glad that they did this.
You see, these guys are making even a red carpet, a big deal. Have you seen the issue of carpet? We are seeing carpets everywhere. People want to walk in red carpets. Murkomen has got a sliced carpet that it had to, you're just seeing it had to be put there because it's coming for a parade. I mean, hii ukubwa imeingia watu kwa kichwa kabisa, unajua inajua but what were Ben, before I just come to you, our leaders, is it because they don't know that we are in an age of information technology, an age of internet where you can get information, you can this play can be watched on TikTok, can be watched everywhere?
I think they are very much aware, and I think what is happening is the generational change, because I don't know whether you did find time to read the PDF of that play. I went through the play, and if you read the play,
tell us about it. I mean, I have not gone through it. Maybe just a sneak preview if you have any of it.
So the play is a fiction, and the setup is in the Middle East, you know, and the king is called Sultan, and this is a country that was at war, and now it's trying to pick up itself. So we have Sultan, who was trying to help out during the protest, and they ended up being jailed, you know. So when you read at it, let me just give you a synopsis.
Yes. Let me tell you, so many people have not read that, you know.
So let me tell you, this is I wrote it somewhere here. So what usually happens? This is Echoes of War by Butere Girls. This is a setup. Is an Islamic setup whereby this country is ruled by a king, and this country was at war. It's now kind of like coming out of war. But there's a young man, and this young man is called Mustafa, and Mustafa is arrested during the demonstration, and his mom is trying to get him out of jail, Like in the process of his mom trying to get him jail, and you read the story, it turns out that the Mustafa and his father were just offering medical to the people who were protesting, and there's also that era of new technology, you know. Then there's a police officer there's a police officer has a group with kids like Mustafa and his daughter Anifa, who also is a university. So when you read the entire play, it depicts actually what is currently happening in the country, even what Gen Z happened. And if you go to there's a page, the page 22, it talks about you will start with Anifa, and he say, come take a look at this. Jamal, you said her full name is Anifa Imana. So when Anifa Imana will tell you, if you have a problem with pronouncing my name, then you should call it AI. So when you look at the initial AI, you have to look at, and this is, so the AI, the Imana is a young generation, and the person, so the person who has a problem with pronouncing his name, because you know the names of younger generation nowadays, they have like very, very names that are not very easily pronounceable with the old people. So because this was about the generation, war between the two generations. So she said, you can as well use my initial as AI. And you know, during the Gen Z and the entire protest, you know what the AI was used for. This was it was a technology that can generate any image. You saw the other day some of the young men were using to generate president image. So that is AI. So it tells you the technology in it, you know. So again, it says, guys, to do serious business, the proceeding in the palace are now live. So and they talk about execution. This is where they're executing Mustafa. And if you read the story, there's also like a young lady who has been impregnated, and this is a Muslim. You know, remember where the setup is, you know, and you know the rules and regulations, especially when it comes to Islamic religion. Yeah. And at the end of the day, the mother frees Mustafa to go to the world. He break out from Islamic religion and become free to the world of today. So if you read, when it comes to literature, the literature is how do you analyze it at a person, and you internalize it and read. And now you come to what is happening in the current situation and how the Sultan himself, the king, and the characteristics or the character traits of that king as compared to the leadership that we have. So that is what is there, but it was a fictional portraying what is happening in the country or the stresses that we have in the country.
Yeah, exactly. Plays have been used before in South Africa. I remember in the era of apartheid, theater became some very instrumental in change, and the government should take it as as a platform where these young people can really get involved in politics. Remember, civic education is taught in school, governance is taught in school, discipline is taught in school. These are some of the things that are taught, and these are the future leaders. So how do they become leaders if they can't be involved in the politics of the day? So they are involved in storytelling, involved in music. I mean, how many times from your tribe and sometimes I hear you playing those old music of Owino Kaba, Owino what is called Kabasele. Yeah, do you Misiani? Those
Let me tell you.
Olela Manze, yeah. We can go on and all. Ping Dungburu, Yamoloko, those things were very, very instrumental in in changing society and how we think, yeah.
And you've mentioned some of the legend musicians, especially in the Luo nation, and I also usually listen to especially Daudi Kabaka, the Remi Ongala, the DCC in Mali, and if you want to listen, there's a song by Remi Ongala. He sings about samaki haina machozi, kwa sababu iko ndani ya maji, sasa itatoaje machozi lakini wanalia. Na ukisikiza tena wimbo wengine hapo ya Remi Ongala ilitungwa na ikaandikwa na Chidimule, na Chidimule saizi ni mtu ambaye anasifu Bwana. Alisema Dodoma. Aliimba wimbo wa Dodoma, na hiyo Dodoma bado ilikuwa tu ni wazo kwamba siku moja Dodoma itakuwa jiji kuu la Tanzania. Ikakuja Magufuli, alikuja kaenda Dodoma akaifungua Chamwino huko, kama unajua. Sikiza wimbo wa Remi Ongala.
Umenikumbusha hiyo wimbo, imenipeleka zile zama za kale. Unajua mahali pale kulikuwa na kina Remi Ongala, kina Daudi Kabaka, kina kina huyu jamaa huyu wa Kongo anaitwaje, huyu alifungwa, huyu guitarist huyu anaitwaje, huyu Mkongolese, very very famous, the most famous Congolese musician, alifungwa na Mobutu Sese Seko,
anaitwa Franco Luambo
Makiadi. The art of music. Franco Luambo Makiadi aliimba wimbo akiwa gerezani kumsifu nani?
Mobutu Sese Seko. Hiyo sasa
hiyo wimbo, the whole idea, okay, these people were using theater, you are using music, they are using their talent, just like these other kids are using their talent to express themselves. And what society should realize, just as the play is saying, niite AI, niite AI, mimi ni binadamu wa kisasa, mimi ni kiumbe kipya cha kisasa, ile inatumia teknolojia ambayo ile huku kuwa pale, unajua.
Kwa sababu unajua kitu ambacho ukisoma sana sana hii mchezo wa kuigiza hivi inaongelea kizazi mbili, kinaongelea kizazi kisasa na kizazi cha zamani, na unapata kwamba wawapatani kwa
Mm.
sababu hawana maelewano, na kuna kizazi ya zamani inataka kwamba mambo yataenda jinsi hao wenyewe wanapenda, lakini wataki kusikiza hawa, ndio unapata people rebel. What usually happens is this, when resistance, people resist when now people cannot agree. That's where now you bring that resistance. That's why you say like, okay, now you start to repel. To say like, okay, because we cannot agree, then that's I need to go my own way. But when you look at this play, even in the literature, when you read the literature books, actually the echoes of war played out in the gallery. I mean, in the public, it came out from the hall to the public, because like if you see every incidences that happened, it reflects on the play, on the topic, kwa sababu labda unaweza kaambiwa kwa Kiswahili, hebu thibitisha maudhui ya mchezo.
Wacha tusimama hapo kidogo, hebu angalia hao wasichana wakiingia pale Nakuru, do you know they were being escorted na polisi na magari. Wallahi, if you are a student at that particular moment in your life, you are being escorted, you are, because you are about to unleash something like a nuclear warhead into the public that is not wanted by the government.
Forget about looking at it that way, that they're not wanted by the government or they're wanted by the government. But when you take at the story, as if you're a very literature student or you're somebody who has done literature, give it a positive view, And how do you have to give it a positive view? Give it a positive view, like these are just students and they're given such security. And when they're given, and all attention were on them, is that one a win or a lose to them, even on the side of the government? When you give it a positive as a literature. So as a literature student, you say that, okay, they have been given that security. Nobody can get such security. And these are kids, remember. They're not like, let's say like, they're not like very famous politicians or a famous musician or somebody who is very famous. Now, if this is literature, so you say like, these are just kids. First of all, give it the positive view, then now come and look at the negative one.
Now we have looked at all the positive views of this particular play, how it informs society of the corruption that is happening in government, in governance, and how society reacts to corruption. The Royal Velvet Emirates, it portrays the generational conflict, and you saw the generational conflict between these young people and the older generation. They don't understand how these kids can be thinking about this, and they're not supposed to think. And they're not supposed to think. And look at the excesses. Look at the how the police lobbied tear gas on these harmless students.
And now, when you come to police, and it's very good that you've mentioned the police. I think in terms of our law enforcement, as much as we appreciate them for what they are doing, there's also a point whereby now, I don't know what kind of the training that they do, because at what point should you lobby the tear gas? Were they at a threat at that moment, with the kids or the population, So, but now, even Senator for Kericho, Honorable Arun Cheruyot, called out on the police and say, like, not every time you have to use tear gas. Those are just kids, And if you look at it, to me, I would say that if I was president, I would crack the whip, because there's lapses, I think, from the security to the Ministry of Education to the communication team, especially of the president. Because let me just bring it in, because when this play came from the counties, if it was something that was very controversial, the intelligence could have known and could have informed the president, and from there they could have blocked it before even coming to the limelight, to the national, So, and then now you question the people who have been given the mandate to brief the president on everything that is happening. Maybe somebody might have been sabotaging the president. How could it that it did not did not get information of this play until it reaches the national level. Then somebody say that that play is not going to play, and you get public attention. That is one. Secondly, look at how even the government officials have handled the communication. Look at the ministry, the CS for education. He said about how they introduce some kind of like materials. And if you look at the report from adjudication, what were they saying? Look at what the CS for interior was saying. Look at Mwanaisha Shizuga. These are all government officials. Instead of them having one communication channels and they communicate and they keep quiet, all of them are communicating and giving different versions.
Giving different, and what they're trying, they're competing to please the master. That is what is happening.
That is the problem. The problem is each one of them wants to appear before the president as the best person.
They are competent. They are seeking attention of the president.
That is what president does not need. President does not need your attention. President has given you the job to serve Kenyan people. Because like each and every person, like gotten everybody look at what the CS for education. He lied based on.
Ben.
Yeah.
Let us look at this thing critically, and the most important thing.
Yeah.
Do you see? For me, I feel like the intelligence of this country is not advising the president wisely. Is not the sacking of the former Uru appointees who are in the intelligence, and Gachagua had mentioned it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
These guys who have occupied those offices are not advising these guys wisely, or if they're advising the president, is overlooking after what they are telling him and doing his own things. Or there is somebody else who is trying to challenge the authority of NIS, because NIS will tell you, okay, this play, this is the repercussion if you attack these students, or if you block it, this will be the repercussion. What is the end game? How do you exit from it? How do we kill it? How do we diffuse it? Let it play. Assume it is not there, and that is it. At some point, William Ruto, you remember that song of Kasongo? It was advised, I think this is my thought, the intelligence community advised Kasongo that, play that song in every place that you go. Then it becomes something that it is normal. It is normalized. You enjoy it, and, and it is not a big issue. But if you make a big deal out of it, then it becomes an issue. Yeah.
And something that also, like now, I've been being very keen on how, especially the Gen Z, especially the ones in the tech, and how their comic are, they change very quick. I don't know. They think very quick in terms of what they want to relay, because if you try to challenge them in another way, they will come with another narrative that will outdo. And what happens is that, especially even if the president is giving speeches, and even maybe like the issue when president was talking about Itoke Kotulo and all that, president maybe thought like, okay, I'm just explaining to the people of Kenya, or the population that I've visited. These are the kind of the development that I want to. I'm scheduled to do for you, or I'm yet to deliver for this area, so that can assist you in terms of infrastructure. But what happened? It came a comedy. And after becoming a comedy, and it has lost its meaning, and it doesn't give the president that authenticity, especially when now you relay the message, because you relay the message, it gets distorted with the comedy. So it's that like now the messages that the president addresses, they are taken casually, they're not taken with a lot of seriousness. Yeah, that is what is happening. Because look at even Kotulo. do you think anybody is very serious when you talk about the Kotulo, Gare, I don't know, all those the roads that president has mastered?
When you watch this play, I don't even I watched I watched a bit of it on YouTube, what they
Mhm.
were talking about. Then it reminded me of what we used to watch in the days, and some of us did not even understand.
Mm.
Uh, Sarafina, for
Yes.
example. Did you watch that movie called Sarafina? It was created by a guy called Ngema,
Mhm.
Mbungeni Ngema. So when he created this movie, it is a musical drama that was portraying uh, apartheid and
Yep.
education policies, the bad education policies that the apartheid government of South Africa was practicing, and this kind of activism, yeah, is what brought awareness to the world that this is what is happening in South Africa.
And you know, when you talked about the Sarafina movie, and that is one of the most watched, and when you're, if you're very keen, it has been interpreted in various languages. I don't know whether you've realized that.
Yeah,
Very,
Sarafina, yes, and this
yeah,
Butere play will be a movie very
yeah,
soon. I'm telling you.
yeah.
Hmm?
But you know, now when we want to look at Butere play, and if you want to take off politics out of it, one thing
Mm,
that our leaders or everybody has to know, because like even I had from now I was listening to, I don't know, she's in charge of what he was saying, that Sosion too, I think Sosion also say that you cannot direct or be part of such play, write a play, if you are not a teacher. Remember that. That is what they said. But now the question is, we know that majority, ever since, even when we were in high school, we were in colleges, there are that a point whereby when it comes to co-curriculum activities, things like football, if to say, you find the school would secure or procure the services of an expert as a coach, to come and train the kids. They're not teachers, but
mm,
they are expert. They are, when you're in a musical drama, there are those who are talented. We call them the choreographies, like those who teach people how to dance,
mm,
on how you can match the sound and all that. You
mhm,
know, they,
mm,
some of our teachers are not trained in that. So for you
mm,
to go for a competition and give a presentation that is valuable, you have to procure services of an expertise on that area. You know, So one of the things that now they should come clear of and say that, okay, because it has always been happening, it's not the first time. Yeah. It is because now maybe Malala is a politician. He has been a politician, and the political interest between him and maybe the president, or maybe with the ruling party now, are not converging. You know, now all these issues are being brought in. So they should come up with laws right now and say that, okay, even the other plays, or other plays that were being um, what that they or that were being supposed to be in the set, are all the people who the directors, who the people who have scripted those plays, are all teachers. If you go, you know very well. Do you think that they're all teachers?
They're not. They're not. They're not all teachers. Yeah, they're not.
They're
E-
not.
Even even the costume, who designs the costume? I mean, uh,
Those are not teachers.
those are not teachers. Even the stage is set by people who are not teachers. Even the lighting, even maybe the sound equipment that is brought there are people who have been hired. We get into some
Yeah.
stupid, childish kind of arguments, and you wonder that whether these leaders, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Are they in this? That is why I'm telling you, these kids are in a different league, they are playing in information technology era. You are still bado wewe uko kwa matypewriter huko, unafikiria those laws are still going to apply to them, boss.
But my take on the entire saga of Butere Girls, to me, my take would be, I think there must be lapses somewhere, especially when it comes to, forget about what the play was depicting, yeah, but the way it played out, I think that one was embarrassment even to the president himself, because even into the international level, you know.
Now, what are you talking about, Ben? This story was in CNN, it was in Al Jazeera, it was in everywhere.
Yeah, so that's now my take, because like there must be a lapses somewhere.
How do
Lapses,
you how do you
how do
allow
you,
that to happen?
even if the president, let's say for example, to say that okay, the president was not involved, but the people who triggered this, because nobody knew that there was a play, Echoes of War, until
Until the police
no
came.
Liverpool, no, until it came into the limelight that the play was blocked. Then what happened? The alumni of Butere Girls went to court. After
Mm.
going to court, the court order was issued that the play should continue and should be directed by Malala. And now, from what happened the time when Malala went and he was blocked and all the saga, yeah, something that was very simple. And at the end of the day, it will.
The Ministry of Education started saying that Malala is not a registered teacher and he should not direct the drama festival. I mean, a director of a drama festival. Oh my God, these people. I
and
mean,
and who usually gives the theme? They give the theme to the schools. Like this year, this is our theme, and the theme comes from Ministry of Education.
yeah, this is the theme for this festival this year.
So
So
it is upon.
I would love to see the theme of that drama. But anyway, this story of Butere, it is something that is going to be with us here forevermore. We will be discussing it time and time again. Let us move very, very fast. We have spent a lot of time on the issue of Butere. There are some other stories that we need to cover tonight before everybody else covers them, and in the best way possible. So we have touched on the Butere.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to UDA politics now. UDA grassroots elections are about to happen, and UDA is splashing 260 million investment to step towards the delegates elections that is coming. Yeah. Uh, I understand they have hired choppers. They have hired. I don't know whether they have hired or they have bought. They have bought. They have got boats. They are all over. So they're using 260 million. This party is really serious about 2027. I have seen what ODM just did, the delegates grassroots elections. We will discuss that just after UDA. Now, UDA is planning their elections, and the election is bringing a lot of controversy. I don't know whether you have seen what is happening in Mombasa. Mohammed Ali is already saying, he doesn't recognize the Secretary General. What do you make of all this?
When you listen to Muhammad Ali was claiming that the Secretary General of Ali Hassan Joe, no, Hassan Omar, sorry, not Ali Hassan. Hassan Omar has already had a list of the delegates that are going to be elected or going to be appointed, whatever the case. And he gave a warning that tutakuachia chama yako na sisi tunajua. So it tells you right now where the UDA is. And I don't know why they are doing the delegates, because like we saw Musalia Mudavadi merge with the UDA and it came up with another name. I don't know whether they are still going to do it as a UDA or they're going to do it as a merger, because remember Musalia Mudavadi. But I feel right now, the UDA as a party, don't think is so much strong. Yeah, and I think the people who are going to be elected are going to be the people who are very loyal, or they will just make a list and say that, okay, so and so is happening. But if you go to Mombasa, what plays into Mombasa, I think, is the politic of the coast, because Muhammad Ali, before the broad-based government, he was very vocal, especially in the coast. Muhammad Ali, Aisha Jumwa, you remember Hassan was in Iyala. He just
Wow,
got.
you just mentioned Aisha Jumwa. Aisha Jumwa the other day was lecturing one of I don't know whether it was a UDA official or ODM official. It was a serious thing.
Yeah,
Just go on. Sorry
yeah.
for that.
That is the coastal, So
Mm.
with the broad-based government, what happened? I think like Muhammad Ali is now being sidelined because his main work was to check on the Johos and the current Mombasa governor. But right now, because of the broad-based government, that has toned down, because they're looking at it to say like, okay, now we do not want this scuffles of politics, of attacking the ODM, because now they are giving us lifeline in the party or in the administration, so you need to handle them with a lot of care. If you start to attack them, they might leave, and you know what happens. Unajua tunapumua katika hewa ya ODM, unajua. So that is an issue. So, and Hassan too will run for governorship, because he has already tried to run for the governorship of Mombasa. But now, if you are the Secretary General, of the party, you are the sole decision maker in terms of issuing out of the certificate. So what do you think there?
Now, this is, you know what, are these parties doing the right thing? That's why I needed, I wish my friend Kennedy was here to tell us more about this. Are these parties doing the right thing? Are officials, are elected leaders supposed to vie for party positions according to the Political Parties Act? I think they are not supposed to.
No, what usually happens is that when you come to these political parties, they have their own constitution and on how they run their. But one thing that we have to agree, our political parties that we have today, they are not institutions like other developed world, or those who have matured in their democracy, in terms of their political party democracy, because they find that the people who usually call the shots in this political party are the owners, and the people who invest a lot of money in these political parties are the owners, the real owners. And apart from that, it's also like I think it is an entrepreneur. I think like people do make money out of these political parties, because for you to get that certificate, it doesn't just come very freely like that. You have to pay something, So I think until that time we will mature in terms of our political parties, we are still going to experience what we are experiencing now. Even the new political parties that are coming, one of the things that they are targeting, if you look at the political parties, those are new. One of the things that they're targeting during the nomination. And what happens, because there are those people who are going to fall. So these political parties that have been formed, the smaller political, will be a fallback. Yeah. So if they come, they fall back on these new political parties, but by good luck, you get elected. Do you know how much money you're going to get from Exchequer just by having members in the parliament as a party? And who is going to enjoy that money? So we've not reached a point whereby our political parties, we've matured. I don't know, it was today or the other day I was listening to the bad girl Emilio Diambo. She was saying something that we are in a come we stay marriage. He was referring to the cooperation between UDA and ODM, and they can leave anytime. If Baba tells them leave, we will leave. If Baba stay, we will say so. it tells you we are still very far in terms of political party democracy and maturity. We are still not there.
Now you see what is happening in these political movements like ODM and UDA, and why these delegates elections are fought very hard by elected leaders who
Yeah.
we think, for me, I feel that they should not be vying for this particular position. They should leave it for people who are on the grassroots and are
Mhm.
not elected. But
Yeah.
now it emerges that the delegates, the delegates are the pillar of the parties. People don't
Yes.
know why it is so important to be elected as a delegate to ODM or to UDA. Now they choose the president or the flag bearer
Yeah.
during the national convention.
Conventions.
So it cannot be anybody. So the person who is being elected as a delegate in either UDA or ODM, automatically that one will get a ticket, a party ticket. And where now that begs the question, where is democracy in these political movements? Because one, I am a delegate now, I am a chairman, or I'm representing my constituency as a delegate. And I
Mhm.
am also an elected leader, and I am going to elect the flag bearer of UDA or ODM in the National Delegates Conference. And
Yeah.
Brother Ben here is my competitor, and nobody, just a member of the party.
Yeah.
So wakati wa kupeana certificate
Wa-
nani kati ya wewe na mimi, nani atapewa certificate?
si yule mtu ambaye ako na ushawishi mkubwa ama yule ambaye ni kiongozi katika hapo. Na kuna jambo ambalo umeongelea sana, mambo ya delegates, kuchagua rais. When it comes to delegates, and I think that's why I was telling you that we are still very far to understand even the delegates. Even delegates themselves, they still don't understand what is their role, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, take a typical example. When you come to these political parties, who is usually the presidential candidate?
The party leader.
Yes. And how comes the party leader is becoming the presidential candidate? For example, let's take an example like when it comes to where we borrowed, or some of the countries that we look up to, especially when it comes to party politics and maturity and democracy. Let's come to the United States. Let's do the Democrat.
Yeah, the Democratic Party.
The Democratic Party.
How do they elect the flag bearer?
No, they have. I know of three, but they can elect presidential bearer in around three ways.
Mm.
Three. One of them is through voting, whereby they vote per states, the way they usually do it. So the more the more people you get, the more you win in those states, you get the delegates, and those are the ones that are going to the convention to confirm you. Let's take in the incident whereby it happened that they did not go through states to vote on how they did with the last general election, on how they did it. There's that which is negotiated. They go themselves and they negotiate. Then they come and say that we propose so and so. But you see, what they did was like the delegates from all the states, they came and say that we are voting for uh, the lady Kamala. But they should do it like three. There are three ways in which they elect their president. But if you look at Kamala Harris and those who are elected, they do not play part in the party politics. the party is just giving them they do not, I mean, like, they do not hold any positions in those parties, which is
Now what I was reading,
mm,
the other day is that the Democratic Party, you see, there is a step that you're missing.
yeah,
There is what they call the caucus,
yeah.
primaries and the caucus.
So
These are state level elections which party members can vote for their preferred candidates.
yeah,
Uh, it's done through a ballot, yeah.
mm-hmm.
But now, when it is a caucus, you see, caucus, it's a discussion.
Yes,
It's not a vote. It is an open discussion
mm-hmm.
that people discuss, and then they vote.
Mm-hmm.
They vote according to the discussion of their preferred particular candidates. Now, each and every state, like we have 50 states in the US, each and every state is allocated a delegate. Yeah, based on the size. Like if it was Kenya, depending on if it is central, central would have more delegates, and Rift Valley would have more delegates compared
Yeah,
to Nyanza. All right, because
mm-hmm.
of the size and the population. So, but now the difference again, now when it comes again down, they have got people they call super delegates.
Yeah,
So these are the super delegates are now those people. You remember we started with the primaries, yeah?
yeah,
Those are the people who won those primaries, and
mm-hmm.
the others who won the caucus. That discussion, yeah.
Yeah,
So then they come to the national convention. That is where now they meet to vote, to cast
yeah,
their vote, yeah.
mm.
And the candidate with the majority definitely becomes the flag bearer for the party. Now in Kenya, it is not in Kenya. I don't know what they are doing, but they are trying to copy what Americans are doing,
yeah.
but they are not doing it the right manner. All right.
So that's why that they it's usually very chaotic, because even like even
Very, very competitive. In Ndiwa, where I saw they chopped off somebody's hand. Can you
yes,
imagine?
yeah, I saw that. By the way, I saw that, and and I think also something that we still do not.
Are we so primitive? I mean, why would you fight because of a delegate position?
Mm, you know what happens? It tells you how
And
we
this thing extended until yesterday. I was still seeing some youths being beaten up. And others, and the guys who are beating them up are even ready to like finish them off,
mm,
because of politics. Surely you as a youth out there, but don't die for a politician because Brother Benson has given you something because he wants to go and eat your CDF
mm,
money in parliament. So you've been given 1,000 bob to fight your for your preferred candidate. Look at their policies. Look at what they want to give you as a constituents. Youths are even being being brought from other constituencies.
mm.
Hmm? So
And
again, it's sad.
yeah, I think because what usually happens is that they know what it means, because even the youths that are being brought from the constituency, they are brought because they're the people who will vote for the chair, and who is going to be the chair. For instance, a member of parliament will be the chair, and if you know you're a chair, that is one step ahead of your competitor.
Okay, Brother Ben, a quick question. Would you go for the ODM ticket in the next election?
Me? No, I'm not a politician in the first place. I don't want to involve myself in politics.
All right, all right. Now, what do you make about this UDA politics that is going on? We left it off where Mohammed Ali now has threatened UDA party that he can go it alone, because what Mohammed Ali is seeing is that the Secretary General, who was the UDA candidate in the last election, most probably will be vying in that particular seat. But now there is also this confusion of broad-based government. How are they going to negotiate these seats between Raila Odinga and UDA? This is the kind, and I want you to spend like 5 minutes on this particular subject, because why it is so important. Our friend Kennedy the other day moved from UDA and formed his own political party. I find it as a strategic and a very intelligent move because, one, right now, I wrote on my page, if you can go to Mazalendo, I wrote on my page that what we will see is when William Ruto was making inroads in Nyanza initially, I told UDA supporters that UDA will be you will be sidelined. You'll be sidelined, and the reason why you'll be sidelined, William Ruto would rather work with elected leaders who have been chosen by the people than somebody who is an aspirant who is aspiring to get a seat. Now, William Ruto will not want to interfere with the Raila Odinga's politics as long as this marriage stands until 2027. They should know that. They should know that. So if you are comfortable in Nyanza, like good friends of mine, that they are going to vie on a UDA ticket. Esbon, my buddy Esbon there wants to be the governor.
Kennedy, there's Kennedy Obuya, Kennedy Abuya.
Yeah, Kennedy is the chairman for Oma Bay, a very cool, collected young gentleman, a very good friend of mine. Now, all these guys are friends of mine. No, I was telling them, you want to buy on a UDA ticket. UDA is cooperating with ODM. Until maybe you want to tell me that William Ruto and Raila Odinga does not want the political money that he gets from Parliament, from the taxpayers. Yeah, you'd want to retain these seats intact without any madoadoa of UDA.
I think what will happen if...
I don't know what will happen. I don't know whether they even see that.
No, they see that. What is going to happen is this, to me, if the coalition or the cooperation between the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the President will go to the ballot box, which sometimes it may, based on how it's so much slippery right now with the President. You know, the President is now experiencing challenges. You know, what will happen, they will do what we call political zoning. And what does political zoning mean? The strong base for ODM will maintain the ODM. For example, when you come to areas where Baba have like strong support, the UDA will not fail any candidates in those areas. That is one. Secondly, in areas where UDA is very strong, the ODM will not fail their candidates. That is what we call zoning. So there are places whereby maybe it's 50-50. So if it is 50-50, for instance,
how do you okay, in Nyanza, in Luo Nyanza, for example.
No, forget about Luo Nyanza. Luo Nyanza, I don't think I do not.
But there are leaders in you who are campaigning on UDA, and they want to be UDA candidates.
Even if they're campaigning for UDA, what will happen is the negotiate. Because remember, I told you, our political parties, for some good reason, if I'm not there, these are business. You know, apart from them being political parties, they're business. And how do you earn more? You earn more by having good number of members of parliament. That's when you're going to get money from exchequer. You know, so what will happen? They cannot just allow cases like that. So what is going to happen? They're going to zone it. Yeah. So let's take, we are coming like places like Mombasa, for instance. So what they can do in Mombasa, they will check their popularity scale, and they look at, okay, in terms of governor, let's give it to the ODM, but what about other constituencies within Mombasa County? Where do we see ODM is not doing well? Then we can fill in UDA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's how it's going to work. Places like Nairobi will be negotiated. How will they negotiate Nairobi? I give you the presidency, you give me the governor. Yeah, because it's
Oh, I give you the president, you'll give me the governor. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I give you the president. We are going to support you as the president. We are not filling candidates, but you're going to be our president. But in Nairobi now, you have to give me governor, and when you're giving me governor, the possibility is that we are going to be the majority in Nairobi, and we control the Nairobi, because Nairobi County generate a lot of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Mm-hmm.
what is going to happen. So, and because president also will be looking forward to finish his term so that he can get his benefit, anything can happen.
All right, all right. Now, let us move to another topic. The ODM chaotic delegates elections. Um, what impressions do you get from ODM when it held its nominations, its delegates elections in Migori, some parts of Homa Bay, Nairobi, and Western? There was a lot of allegations of rigging, and right now, as we speak, there are two factions. All of them, they have a list. The incumbents, who are probably the members of parliament, they have their list that these are the elected, and they conducted the elections. Now, there's also another branch of ODM right now that that is at the grassroots by the county leaders. You see, the county leaders, if you go to Migori, Ochela Ayako has got his list. The other guy is called Atandi, has got his list of delegates of the people who are is elected. If you go to Homa Bay, where I come from, the county governor and his battalion of MCAs have got a list that these are the people that he wants to work with. The area MPs have got their list that these are the people that we all feel that should be, and they all conducted elections. Now the funny thing, they all conducted their nominations.
So this is what is going to happen. At the end of the day, there are those that are going to be recognized by the party. The party will look those are who the party will scan the list, and they'll maybe do a background check on some of the people who have been given the delegates and say
So
that.
How do you do a background check on a member of parliament who is elected?
But
He has
there's what we
brought
call
for you a list. He has brought for you a list.
the loyalty supersedes the list that
Loyalty, infidelity, how do they call it?
loyalty, infidelity is paramount. So it supersedes those elections. If your loyalty test is around 1%, and somebody who have a list which maybe they did not do election, their loyalty is 100%, they will go with the one who is very loyal to the party.
Now, Jimmy, nice to see you once again. We are now at the chaotic ODM delegates elections. In some area, it was well done where there were no competition, but in most areas it was chaotic and people lost their lives. My condolences to the families of the bereaved who lost their lives during these delegates elections. Now, these elections have become very, very competitive. Now we have got factions within where you come from. If you come from Nyamira, you'll find that the area MP, if he's elected ODM, he has got a list of delegates that he will present, that these are the officials who we have elected. Now, an aspirant who is also vying for that particular position will come with an alternative list that these are the people that we are represented. Now, do these political parties represent democracy? If you look at it in a democratic way, do they represent the democracy or the will of the people at the end of the day?
Well, no, they don't. My brother here said very correctly and rightfully that loyalty. I'll even go actually further. It's not even actually royalty. This is business. It's about money. It's about money. It's not even has nothing to do with royalty, because royalty. You want to tell me today? You will go to is it Ragwe, where Otiendo Moro is a member of parliament, that you are going to try and run against, yes, that you are going there to run for an ODM ticket. I mean, come on, do you want to tell me that you want to go to Kisumu and you want to compete with Anyang Nyong? So these things, they are not democratic. That is why you see people losing life. My condolences to the family, but they are losing life because they actually believe that if they don't fight for this ticket, they will not get it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point where we are losing lives. And the person who has actually paid millions or billions to this party believes that if he doesn't get it, his life is shattered, like he's lost. People sell land, people sell their properties to actually get these delegates. It's not easy. So na hii maneno ya you have been involved in I'll just give you an example of just last election. Last election, I jumped 3 parties in 1 week. I went to ODM. I went to ODM. I had done my registration. I had my list that I had recruited to nominate me as the candidate for ODM. But last minute, I was told, now we will not have nomination. We will do what we call negotiated democracy. Such a name is what the name I was told. And then I knew, when you reach to negotiated democracy, then there is nothing there. It's about, the money. And, yes. And so if you're not careful, you will miss being on the ballot. So I jumped to Jubilee. I jumped to Jubilee, whereby I found another person who were there, but I thought I was so powerful, so I, ignored. I found a lady there, by the way. I thought, huyu nitafagia. This is easy. Newcomer from university. So mimi ni veteran politician. My friend, nionyesha vumbi. I went to that negotiated democracy, and out of 15 people, I got 14 out of 15. The first round. Then we were sent out. Second round, for some reason, I got 12 out of 15. The third round, I was told, my friend, here we are going to give a lady because we have seen in our party tujapatia wanawake ticket mob, ikaenda hivyo. Yeah, two-third majority. Yeah, exactly. So nikapoteza hapo, and I had only 3 weeks. And so there was a deadline. I had to rush to independent. So
independent sasa ukaenda kutafuta symbol ya chui, symbol ya panga, ni gani?
Ile simbo yangu niweka ile kiti ya miguu tatu.
Then you have to convince you have to convince your locals that hii kiti ya mguu tatu is the foundation of society.
My wish. My wish, to be quite honest with you, is that hii maneno hata parties zimwagiliwe ndani mbali. People go independent. Because people have suffered, by the way, for your information, especially people from
the reason why this thing is becoming so violent is because the political parties are also getting money, and they want to bank on a candidate that can win that particular seat. They will not bank on Jimmy, who is a newcomer, yet they have got already somebody they had tested on the ground and is going to win that seat. So that is
And
where the
Yeah,
contention is.
but
So
but
when
let
you
me tell you.
see,
Let
when
me
you
tell
see,
you. Let me
yes,
ask you this. Let me tell you this. Do you know if I had an ODM ticket in Kitutu Church South, I will be the member of parliament right now. Do you know that?
yeah, yes.
If somebody else got the ODM ticket in Rarieda, it will be the next member of parliament. So hii maneno tunasema ati a popular candidate ni ngumu. Some areas which are ODM strong areas, they vote based on the party. They don't even look at the candidate.
Now, Jimmy, let me just cut you short. In Kisi, this is the kind of democracy that you don't have in Luo Nyanza. Kisi, they vote.
Mm-hmm.
They vote for the party, for a popular candidate
Not in
of
my
their
constituency.
choice. Of their
No,
choice.
I'll tell you no. Not in. Yes, they do larger Kisi. I was talking about Kitutu Church South.
Kitutu
Yeah.
Sete South could be selected democracy.
It's really not selected democracy. Kitutu Church South is a cosmopolitan constituency, but also a part of, if you know Yugis, a part of Ruga, they are Luos. When you come to Darajambili, they are Luos. Okay?
So hiyo
So,
iko
so
imeshikana na Mosocho.
yes, hiyo ndio Musocho. Those
Hiyo
are
ndio
Luos, by
Mosocho
the way.
Cardinal Otunga kwenda hivyo,
But that's my home.
that is your home.
Yes, Mosocho ndio home. So we tuko na Wajaluo pale who speaks Kijaluo na Kikisi. But there is about 7,000 ODM votes in Kitutu Church South. And whoever who gets the ODM ticket automatically gets those 7,000 for a start. So that's how it is. That's how it is.
But when we talk about the political parties, I think there's a way in which maybe we've made to believe how political parties are good, or of how like we are advancing our democracy through by representation, or when it come even to now what is happening the broad-based government, they say that okay, the stronger the political party, the higher the bargaining and the higher the slot. So that is what you are being told as a voter, that don't look at the person that you are voting, but vote the party, because this is what is going to secure you milk and honey, is the party, not the person.
What they used to call 6-piece.
Yeah, 6-piece. Yeah, people vote 6-piece. And it's not only in the strong areas of ODM, but every political party, when you go to, let's say, Rift Valley, they will vote the president because that is their son, and they will go to the party that president has. They will
You know, Ben, I used to condemn that 6-piece until I saw the US elections. And I said, let me just keep quiet, because everybody else is voting according to what the leader is telling you.
Yeah.
And then now I see the implications, why people have to vote in that particular direction. So when you go to parliament, you speak in one voice. When you go to the Senate, you speak in one voice. The county assemblies, they speak in
one voice.
One voice. So it is easier to pass bills, even if you are a leader. That is the kind of team that you'd want to. Even if you want democracy, as much as we would want to be very democratic, it can't happen. It can't happen.
And that one explained for you. If you look at now the broad-based government, so you look at when did Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula came into the Kenya Kwanza? When did they come? It's almost 2 years. When did ODM came? But now when you look at what ODM has bagged within short period they've been in government is more than what Wetangula and Mudavadi have combined. The reason being they have strong bargaining, or they have strong soldiers behind them that can bargain. So that's why they insist on such 6-piece. So when such dealings comes, they enjoy.
No. You see, William Ruto was looking at the end of his bargain, who is going to bring for me what I need. when he looks at Raila and then he weighs them on the same. You can't weigh Raila Odinga and Wetangula and Mudavadi on the same scale. Even
Why?
if you put Wetangula and Mudavadi on one end of the scale and Raila will still outweigh them politically. This Wetangula and Mudavadi in Western, they don't have that political muscle that Raila Odinga has built in Western for a long time, and you can see by the
So,
numbers.
so what give him that muscles in Western Kenya?
For one, Western Kenya has not been united politically for a very long time. When you talk about the Luya has got so many dialects. There is no Luya tribe. There's no Luya tribe. There are so many sub tribes in Luya land. So that is the biggest problem. Why does Wetangula win in his Bukusu community? Because he's a Bukusu and that's the reason why they vote for him.
Yeah.
And they don't really care. So beyond his community, there is nothing. Why did this guy of UDP is called Eugene Momalwa win? Because there is a relationship with my party represent my clan, so he will get a seat or two in the areas that he comes from. So that kind of thing is playing along in Luya land politics that you can't wish away. If you go to Vihiga, which is approximately which the proximity is closer to the Luo Nyanza, you will
Yeah.
find Vihiga, Kakamega leaning towards ODM. If you go to Cosmopolitan Busia, then that is an ODM zone. So you cannot say Busia is Luya, Vihiga is Luya. They have got these dialects that play around. That people like Tawe movement, Natembea, are trying to fight so that they have one unity called Western Bloc coming together. So they have never had a Western Bloc. So this election that is coming, that's my thought. This election that is coming might bring the Luya unity together. What do you think?
And the reason why I agree with you on how you say about the sub tribes, but the reason why I say that Raila has bargaining power even in Western, you talk about it, because like he has more member of parliament. That is what is making you to be powerful. If you do not have soldiers, how many times, even like now, the narrative that they are pushing that, okay, they give the votes, but now when it comes to giving the position, they don't get. What could be the reason? Their disunity could be one of them. Yeah. But the reason why Raila has gotten so much into Kenya Kwanza government is because of his loyal foot soldiers and the number of MPs that he has, as compared to Musalia Mudavadi and Boniface Masika Wetangula. Yeah. Because during the time right now, let's say that Raila was out of the picture with the way the things are with the president, rebellion from Mount Kenya, and rebellion even from some other UDM members, and the impeachment, ODM combining force with those members of parliament from Central Kenya who are not agreeing with him, he will go home early in the morning in terms of impeachment. So that strong soldiers that Raila has, that is what is making him to bargain and to remain relevant in the Kenyan politics.
All right, Jimmy, what do you think? Do you have anything to add on that before we move to the next topic?
No, because even nominations, the more members of parliament you have elected, the more slots you have for nominations. Same thing with MCAs and senators.
Mm-hmm.
So having big number of elected representative is also a voice that adds into you, and that's why Raila has been very, 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 very successful in making sure that the Nyanza Western votes are consolidated in one basket, as opposed to Wetangula, who is very happy being a speaker, or Mudavadi, who is very happy to be sober for the last 3 years. and being the prime minister, because pale ni kanisa hata Mudavadi hakunywi pombe, aliwacha kupombe so aliambiwa hapa huwezi kunywa pombe if you want to be the cabinet. So yeah, numbers matters.
Yeah.
And that is in everything. Numbers matter. Numbers matter. Yeah, but I wish we would reach a point whereby we leave this parties issue so that we have only two parties, maybe chungwa na banana, and the rest be whatever they want to be. But I wish we can get to that point. That would be very interesting, because that way we will not be having hii maneno ya Wetangula nini, like the principles. It will be either you are in opposition or you are in the government. It's that way. If you're in opposition, uko na budget yako, you keep checks and balances. If you're in the government, you deliver. You know, if you don't deliver, this opposition is united. They can actually impeach you or take you out of whatever position you are. So I wish we can get there.
Okay, Ben, go ahead.
You see, when you look at when the multipartism came, multipartism was a very good idea, and it was opening doors for people who have divergence view, or people who do not have a mind with the ruling party, then would pursue governance in different way, or even to put the government on check, you know. But if you look at the first Ford, the first Ford, where the leaders were before it broke, it was about Ford of issues. They were talking about issues, things like tribal were not, because I can remember, if you read the history, they would go and even campaign in Kisii. They would go and campaign in anywhere in the country of a common goal. They were just looking on how they can create a good Kenya, you know. But something along the way, there was a departure. Yeah, along the way there was a departure, and the departure was the very moment when even the Right Honorable Prime Minister came and worked with Moi. You know, that was the death of the democracy. Yeah, and after that, the KANU broke. Then they came together with one goal, that let's take Moi out of power. And when we were taking Moi out of power, we did not know what we were going to do immediately after taking Moi out of power. Some people might have had the vision of what they're going to do, but along the way, even after taking Moi out of power, there was that disagreement. Then we came to conclude that in our election, there will not be a single party that will win election, that we have to come and merge in every area. And if you're merging, we look at the kingpins, and the kingpins come together. You mortgage your community, and the position you're going to be given not on merit, but they're going to be given on the number of votes that you are bringing. That's why you find a community like Ogek might have somebody with a very good vision for the country, but he cannot get the presidency. Reason being, he doesn't have any population or any numbers is bringing onto the table.
Si useme tu Matiang'i na Maraga.
Matiang'i na Maraga.
I almost asked Brother Jimmy. Kisii people, you know, I've had the kingpins before. We had Nyachai was a kingpin of the Kisii.
Was short-changed at the last moment.
Because of the numbers, he was told what Ben just said. Because of the numbers,
yeah,
he was the right guy, but because of the numbers.
Now, okay, now let's come to numbers, because we need to crunch these numbers for politicians to understand how these elections work. Let us crunch the numbers. Today, we have got 42 tribes. The big four, we have got the big four tribes. The big four, in order of merit, and the census that were held so many years back, is that the Kikuyu are number one, number two are the Luya, number three are the Kalenjin, number four are the Luo community, and now number five who are the Kamba, not really the Kamba, the Somali.
The Somali are coming in.
Yes, the Somali are coming in before the Kamba community. They are number 5. Then we have the Kamba community. These are the communities that decide the politics of Kenya. Having said that, number 3, that is the Luo community. No, not even the Luo.
Luo number
Luo
3.
is number 4.
Yeah.
Luo wako number 4. They've been relegated.
No, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Luos are number 4. Number 4. From number 4 to
so
number.
Are you now changing to bring the Luo in? I thought you said from number 3.
No. We want to talk about from number 4 going backwards.
Okay.
Number 4 going backwards.
Okay.
When you talk about from number 4 going backwards, these are people who can only be the deputy presidents of the Republic of Kenya. Number one can always work along with number 2. Number 3 can always work with number 1. These top 3 tribes can always work together. They can always interchange. But the remaining lot can always come as deputies and or as governors or as anything else or as the opposition. That is. But the politics is now changing drastically, and this is what is changing the politics of Kenya. And this is why that play, Echoes of War, is bringing a lot of jittery. One, it has ignited the emotions of the young people. The young people of this country, Kenya, if you didn't know, 8 million of them did not vote in the last election. They didn't feel that Raila Odinga was a good candidate and William Ruto was a good candidate. The people presented to them did not articulate their issues in the best way, or they did not see any policies that they were bringing new on the table. And that is what they see in William Ruto today. So even William Ruto, if he does all the developments that barabara zote, manyumba zote, ajenge, nini, these people, they don't see that as important to them. They see jobs as a priority to them, and decent jobs to talk about as a priority to them. Now, this generation, I'm talking about 8 million of them did not vote. Today, we have got 4 years of William Ruto's presidency going to 2027. He has done 2 years. When he'll be done, his report card would say 4 years. He has done 4 years, later report card yako tuone. Now, this young generation, you see those schools that were performing the other day and being tear gassed by this regime that don't even think. Every year, we offload 900,000 of those young students that you saw being tear gassed, and 900,000 of them will be able to get an ID and vote. That is the danger. So if you do your maths, 9,000 of them, already we have added another 5 million votes into the system, bills that were not even there. Plus those who never voted and all that. I am telling you, if this demography votes, then it tilts the scale drastically. That is why the political class, I am sure, they can, if they have got a way to stop the young generation from voting in 2027, they will do it. If they have got a way to stop media, Brother Benson media, Afrique media from airing what we are airing today, they will stop it. They will stop it at all means, because that is where the victory is. You remember in our election it has always been hii kura ni wamama ndio watashinda, hii ingine ni ya vijana, na hii ingine inakuja ni ya vijana chipukizi AI. Unaonaje Ben? Hayo ni maoni yangu.
Unajua kitu ambacho labda hata inasumbua maviongozi zaidi ni kwamba hawawezi jieleza vizuri kwa hawa kizazi kipya vitu ambazo wanataka wafanyie, kwa sababu ukiangalia hata wakati ambao walienda kwa maandamano walitoa hoja zao, wakasema hivi ndio vitu ambazo sisi tunataka ufanye mabadiliko hapo sisi tutakuwa tuko sawa, kwa sababu ukiangalia ndani ya mazungumzo yao alikuwa na mambo kama ukabila, au ni kitu ambao walikuwa naangalia, walikuwa nataka waone kwamba kazi watu wamepata huduma bora, walikuwa naangalia mawaziri ni wengi, punguza maisha ya gharama, taxes ziko, lakini unapata kama hawa viongozi hata wakikaa chini na hawa mavijana na waulizwe hizo maswali, unapata inakuwa ni changamoto kwao kuzungumza ama kuwajibu. Ndio maana unaona kama hata hii mchezo ambayo ya kuigiza inawakera wale ambao wako katika uongozini, na si tu serikali ambao iko katika mamlaka, vile vile wale ambao wako na nyadhifa ambao wanajiita makiongozi, kwa sababu mchezo huu ilikuwa inazungumzia watu wote. Ilikuwa ukiangalia kwa undani zaidi itakuwa inazungumzia vile hata wale ambao wako katika vigogo ambao wamekuwa kwa siasa kwa muda mingi, wakipatiwa tisho kidogo wanakuja wanaungana pamoja, wanasema hawa watoto, kwa sababu ukiangalia hata venye viongozi wanaongea, wanasema venye watoto wamekuwa ni watu ambao si wako na heshima, lakini wajiulize swali, ni nini ambayo sisi kama ambao ni wazazi hatufanyi bora? Wanasema nini? Tusukae ndije tuzungumze. Wewe unaweza tu kuja kusema kwamba wewe mtoto ni mtoto mtukutu, wewe mtoto si mtoto mzuri, na hiyo kosa uzuri wake ama ubaya wake inaletwa na nini? So hiyo ndio kitu ambayo mimi naweza sema.
Jimmy, do you have anything to add? Unaweza ongezea mjadala?
No, mjadala tuko sawa. I think kitu cha muhimu ni kwamba katika 2027 election it is definitely for sure that the demographic the Gen Zs and millennials, they are actually going to be the deciding vote, and the second, the diaspora vote also with the Gen Zs is going to make a big difference. The problem is that the diaspora, we do not have mechanisms, and hopefully by the year 2026 there should be some recruitment and some polling stations that will be available for the diaspora to vote. But as it is right now, the government of the day, they have no intentions of doing that. But I know there is a group that here in the diaspora that are actually championing that to an extent that we can even actually vote online, like other countries they are doing. So if that happens, trust you me, these blocks you are talking about, the Butere Girls, League of the 9,000, that is actually the countries offloading, plus the ones that didn't vote, and then you energize the diaspora, things are going to be changed. There are two people or two voting blocks that you can change. One of them is the diaspora. Diaspora have shown time and again that they can actually be tribeless. They can vote without necessarily voting that I'm a Luo, I'm going to vote for Raila. No. They have seen, we saw that when Ruto came in. Diaspora really embraced Ruto. At the time Uhuru, they embraced Uhuru. These things have changed. From for the longest, it has always been Raila. Diaspora has always been with Raila. But when Uhuru came, it tilted. When Ruto came,
for Jimmy, for the sake of viewers, what really changed in the perception of Raila Odinga? What really changed the people's mind on how they used to view, especially the diaspora community? What did he really do that made them change their mind about it?
It's the same things that even the Kenyan people, the people in Kenya, are having problems with Raila. The thing is that people, for a very long time, they have actually seen Raila win, but he doesn't know how to defend his votes. Like, we give you votes, but you don't protect them. Protecting them means that you actually put, like, for example, the last election, he didn't have what do you call them? The pollsters,
Urgent.
what do you call them? The
Agents.
agents.
Urgent.
And you and I know very well that you can be voted if your agents are not there. That vote is changed or spoiled or towards the new guy. So that's what the diaspora have seen, and that is why most of them, they have come to a point whereby, you know what, even if this guy Raila, every time when he loses, he actually goes to the government of the day. And what happens to us? We are left. We are left. So that has actually played a big role of people trying to see, it's a character, it's a pattern that they have been watching. And it looks like Raila is not proving otherwise. He has been doing the same script even after he lost the AU. We thought that he was in AU just with the president until he wins or loses the AU. Then he comes back to his senses, to his base. He didn't. Instead, he went all in. So I think there's a number of issues that we can agree or disagree why people tilting away from Raila. But he also age is not really working for him. When you see him, you really empathize with him. Like, I think it's about time that he needs to be home. He needs to be home with the Wajuku and even him to just have some rest. This is a little bit too much for him. I mean, what else is he
Looking for.
looking for?
Leave it there, Ben.
Does he want to die in power?
Ben.
He's already a president. He's already a
Ben.
president as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so many people echo your statements. What I see on the comment section, Brother Ben. What is Raila looking for in this last minute venture with William Ruto? What is it really that is at stake here?
Like when you come to politics is interest, and politicians always work when there's an interest. I think maybe their interests might have converged.
Let me this gentleman. Hey, thank you, Pius there on Nyanza News Network. Thank you for watching Africa. We'll be in Nyanza News Network very, very soon.
Tupige kelele.
Yeah, tukuje kwa Nyanza News Network. Tualike, and you need to jump in here. You're also a leader in UDA. Come and tell us what's happening.
Okay.
Yes.
So the interest, but now the reason why might be people are tilting, or the majority of the younger leaders are now trying to run away, maybe withdraw their support from Raila Amolo Odinga, is because of his art of politics. Because if you're very keen on the Raila Odinga art of politics from the time he joined Moi to where we are today, working with President William Ruto, the message has always been the same. There's nothing I would say new that he has always, because they've been fighting for, what Raila has been saying, we are going in to bring the country together. That is one of the messages. Two, we are fighting for electoral reforms. We want to bring what we call inclusivity. Yeah. But now when now they come together talking about even inclusivity, is everybody included? You talking about electoral reforms, even after coming into this negotiation, we still have electoral reforms. And the electoral reforms that maybe they are fighting for by forming these commissions that they are forming, actually, to me, I feel they're not fighting for the rights of the people, but they are pushing the agenda for interest individuals. For example, you can come, when you look at BBI, it was a very good document. But when you look at the position that it was creating, yet the country had a burden. So how beneficial was it for the people? And even creating the constituencies, which were very okay, but the way in which they did it was questionable. So it's like it was like a buyout. They were hanging it, especially for the people of Central Kenya. We're going to give you this number of constituencies so that you can vote this other way. Yet they knew very well that that was not going to work. Then again, come to the ones that were just concluded. It's called what? I don't know. The one that they just conclude about
It's called the NADCO report.
the NADCO report. When you look
Yeah.
at NADCO report, who benefits most? So the people who benefit most is the leadership. So you find that every time that these commissions that are being formed after elections, especially to bring peace and all that, what they are trying to push is not people centered. It is the policies that they're pushing are things that are going to benefit the leaders. Because even if they create the leader of opposition, if Ruto loses, it's going to still benefit. It's still benefiting the political class. So there's to me, that's how I usually think. So I think with the new generation who are looking at it in terms of good governance, yeah, who are looking at how can we change or how can we tackle the challenges that people are facing, because the young people that you see today, some of them are living with their parents. They are seeing on how the challenges of poverty, they've grown up in poverty, yet they've gone to school, yeah, and they've interacted with the world. They've seen of how some other areas or some other leaders are making changes. Ask anybody in Africa, even in the village areas, they know about Captain Traore. So when you want to bring Captain Traore and you want to compare it maybe with President William Ruto and ask them who is leading the country very well, they will go for Captain Traore just because they're interacting with the world. So that's why the kind of policies and the kind of politics maybe that Raila is doing is not very well received with this generation. This generation are of another political messaging and political waters that they don't buy the politics of Raila. So that's, I think, maybe the population is moving away from him.
Raila has
Yeah,
been very
I agree
consistent.
with you. I agree with you that the population is moving away from the older generation. I think there's a conflict that is going on. There's a new block of leaders. I see that in Babu Owino. I see that in Mohammed Ali. I see that in Sifuna. They're really hanging. They're really trying so hard to hang around this older generation or politician, but there is a way they also feel that they need to have representation. One thing, brother Ben and Jimmy, I've always been told that a politician has to be a liar. Lazima ujue uongo mbili ya matatu, unakuwa unadanganya kila saa wakati kama wewe ni mwanasiasa. Is it like if you are a politician you have just to lie to your people? Hakuna mtu yani huwezi kuwa mwanasiasa ule anasema ukweli.
Yeah. That is that's a talk of Africa. You look at politics of the Western here. You don't lie. You don't lie.
You will be. Yeah. You will be. They will go back and tell you this is what you said sometimes back.
And that's where we are going. By the way, that is where we are going in Kenyan politics.
That is why I brought that topic. Ruto does not realize that whatever is being told is that it is a generational change. They don't want politicians who are just having rhetorics, telling them stories of yesterday. I was surprised on this platform. Gen Z man is called Nick. Maybe he's listening. He told me, Jimmy, you've been a candidate in Kitutu Church. And most of the time you tell your people, nitawajengia barabara, nitawaletea maji, nitafanya nini. Do you know what this young man told me? Listen, who told you I needed a road in my village?
Wewe unaongea nini? Leo si kuna mmoja alikatazwa, where was that? Alikuwa anaongea maneno ya nyumba. Alikatazwa leo, today. We are talking about today.
I think Nani, it is Waluke. Waluke was, I think they were in Kisii.
Yes, Kisii alikatazwa.
Alikatazwa, and there's this lady who was talking about this play, and also it was record.
Do you know, Jimmy? I kept quiet, and I asked him, okay, if you don't need a road, what do you need?
Anafanyia nini barabara?
Yeah, na aliniambia, if I have money in my pocket, I can access my village with a chopper. And that road in my village, it gives me another feeling. Na nunaona gari kubwa, nakimbia nayo kwa hiyo barabara. It's my country home. I don't want it to look nice. Now then now you look at this guy, and then you look at this is another reasoning in another level.
You know, we have misplaced priorities, by the way, and we have misplaced priorities. And you see, when you look at the number of parliamentarians that we have, they are really educated per se. They have very good degrees, but the most important thing, there are also half of them. They have been in the diaspora somewhere, and they have seen how these roads are nice and water system is working and everything is working. You wonder what happens when they go to parliament. It's because when they go to parliament, the first thing actually, ni hiyo class wanapelekwa. When you get elected, you are taken in a month, a class on how they behave and in parliament. And that system is probably what needs to change. Because when these people go there, they completely forgot what they told people. They are people genuinely.
All right. Okay, guys, just a minute, man. Guys who are watching us, Peter Sankara Karani from Nakuru, asante sana. Pius Dero Kisumu, asante sana. Ayoki, thank you for tuning in to Brother Benson, or if you're watching from Africa, asante sana. Kennedy Sankara, thank you very much. Peter Sanka, wacha kupotea sana. Mike Onyango, Erokamana Ojatelo, for watching Africa 24. This is where we bring for you the real news. Hapa kuna tio, tunabagua manini. Tunakuletea peupe. Kama Raila ni mbaya, tunakuambia ni mbaya. Kama ni Bwana Ruto, tunakuambia ni mbaya. Kama wewe ni scavenger, unakula kwa mabakshishi ya serikali, tunakuambia wewe ni scavenger. You're just a scavenger. Eating babakshishi za serikali. So this is where we will tell you the truth. If the government is doing the wrong thing, we will tell you, hey, boss, Bwana Ruto, hapo umekosa. Na hapa ndio tunakosoa serikali bila uoga. Na kama uko na uoga, ama kama uko na swali pale, ile unaogopa kuingia hapa katika jukwaa, tuma swali yako, tutakuulizia hapa katika hii Africa 24, tutakuulizia bila uoga wowote. Just post your question there. We have got a good panelist here. Jimmy is here. We will answer your questions. Brother Ben also is here, is ready to answer your question. Let's put first gears first, and we move to the next topic. Now, Kenya is shifting to China. Ruto, I think, Jimmy, from what I'm seeing, is alliance with the United States, the Western countries, is kind of in a didimia. So he's going to do bilateral trades with China. Unlike the Ruto we saw in Biden time, was a darling here in the US. So I don't know whether this China link is informing the politics of the day, with is auguring well with our international development partners. What do you think? That is Ruto being sidelined by the Western nation?
Well, first of all, actually, let me just start by I was very against Trump, but I'll tell you this. If I had the opportunity to vote, Trump would be the best person to vote for America. Why do I say that? What this guy is doing, by shutting off all these grants and things that are going to Africa, is actually making Africa think. All this money.
Jimmy, you are saying that Africa is thinking. Trump has already shut down almost everything. Have you seen any leader, your leader? having a meeting saying that ile pesa tulikuwa tunapatiwa sasa tutafanyaje kama serikali.
Unajua Ruto angekuwa kama ni Biden angekuwa sahi president, Ruto angekuwa amemake trip ngapi kuja hapa? This is very good, by the way. Let me just say this. Trump is doing the right thing, because all this money that the Westerns, especially the US, has been lending and granting Kenya has nothing to show for. Awana. Hiyo yote naenda tu Uhuru, hiyo yote ilienda tu Moi, hiyo yote ilienda tu Kibaki. Afadhali Kibaki nikipita Thika highway, hizo highways I can see. There is something I can see, by the way. Ruto niambie nini unaona? Nothing. So hii wao hata kwenda China. You know the China people, by the way, when you go to Kenya, you see a lot of Chinese making those roads themselves. Look at the SGR, Uhuru. At least there's something that you know those Chinese, they give you money
for
but
people who have.
Okay,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
So the US was putting them accountable, and they didn't like that. The Chinese, what they are doing is that they are giving you the grants, but they are giving you conditions. That if it's those roads, I see Chinese hapo kwetu bwana, hata kuna neighbor yangu amezaa na Mchinese, saizi kuna mtoto Mchinese. You know, these are facts. So yes, let them go to China. I'm actually pro-China. What you are finding is of it. The only thing is I don't like the way they're harassing our people, but at least there's something getting done, as opposed to what the Americans was giving these guys. You know, they took time to do the audits. By the time they do audits, hizo pesa imefika sugoi, and there's really nothing you can do. Let Trump shut everything. Let him shut everything. Let Africa, we have a lot of money. We need to stop borrowing. Tutaborrow mpaka lini? Up to when? Let the African countries actually go back to farming. Let the tourism industry grow. Let people come and enjoy in the coast, and you know, there's so many beautiful places, including actually even what is this place I went to? There's this other place inaitwa nini? Homa Bay. Kuna places poa sana, people can have fun.
Kisumu,
you go to Kisumu, my friend, unafikiria uko Dallas. Hakuna takataka kwa barabara. There's nothing. So we can do it ourselves. So hii mambo ya kusema about nini hata hiyo China, it's okay to get loans or grants, but at least have something to show up for. For years, we have not been having anything to show up.
You know, just to bring you to the picture, is that Kenya has cancelled a 1.3 billion euros deal that they had with the French government to build an highway. I think that money is now being taken to China. I think they are now giving the Chinese government that deal. It tells you again the shift in African politics. Yeah, the shift in African politics. The way Africans are now, African leaders, including Ruto himself, is now thinking of Africa. What are the other leaders talking about the association with the European nation? So I think China is going to be a good bet. Yeah,
Mzalendo.
Yes.
I have I don't, you know, I'm not privy to what you just said, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. But I can see why. They canceled that, because right now France is on tension from Congo. They have tension, and they have been chased away from with Abraham.
Na kuna interest ya Kenya pale Congo pia.
Exactly. So yeah. So and let me tell you something. Ruto, he has his self-interest more than those of the country. Hizi hata hii mara napeleka China, don't be surprised. Very soon utaanza ame-corrupt our Chinese, because they are corruptible also. I'm telling you this. So we should be very cautious.
Nataka kusema Ruto anajua kuongea kiching chung chung ching.
Huyo jamaa bwana wa Munyoro si alikwambia alikuwa anakuja huko anaongea mabarabara mpaka wa Munyoro anashangaa. Kwa kanisa hii barabara ya kutoka huku ya kwenda huku, he knows them. He knows them by the head.
When Munyoro says those things, unaweza cheka. Mali anamalizia anasema Wakikuyu wanasema
and you know he used to tell us kama tutajipanga atawapanga, and that's what happened. But let me say this, we have no room for lies anymore. Our young kids, our generations that are coming up right now, huwezi wadanganya, they are sharp. Now, the worst thing they have done is that, you know, we have a lot of population that, and you, I don't know about Ben, but if you went to school in Kenya and had an opportunity to go to school in these Western countries, let me tell you something. The education system in Kenya is meant to fail students. So when you see somebody going through school, Kenya ama Uganda ama where, na amepita, mheshimu huyo mtu. These schools here, Ben, and I'm letting you say, any time, by the way, you are guaranteed of passing and getting a degree. It's just time. And I'm not saying that this is out of ignorance. It's what I've seen. By you just going to school, attending a lesson which you are supposed to, with you marks. And I'm not saying that it's a broken system. It's a system that is meant to make people go to school. Here, they're encouraging people to go to school. In Kenya, it's a must that ni lazima uende shule. You hata job, kuna jobless wengi ambao wako na degrees universities, they don't have anywhere to go. And so they are actually doing 2, 3, 4 degrees to keep themselves busy. Back to you, Ben. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Talking about school, I can remember when I was defending my research, and it was like sitting before a panelist of almost like around 3 professors, and you are defending your project, and if you don't like pass your project, you're not graduating. It's very hard.
It is.
And if you go to the Western and like you find on how they assist them to write, even after the classes, you can have the teaching. Kenya in terms of kusoma ni ngumu, because sometimes you don't have choices, especially in campuses. You don't have choices. You have to use ni ile tu memory kitu ambacho ulisoma. Na kuna jambo labda mzalendo, kama tujaingilia au mambo ya China, ulisema kwamba watu wanasema kwamba wanasiasa ni waongo. Mimi sidhani kama hivyo wanasiasa ni waongo. Ni labda tu dhana tu ambao wao wenyewe ndio wameweka kwamba sisi tumeambiwa kwamba ni waongo, kwa sababu ukiangalia viongozi ambao wamekuja hivi juzi, mtu kama Traore, tena uande huko Senegal, ukuje hapa Mali, watu si waongo. Watu ni ambao wanajua changamoto ambao nchi yao inapitia, na wameangalia maisha yao na wamejua makosa iko wapi na wanarekebisha. Ukiangalia Captain Traore kitu amefanya ndani ya miaka miwili, ama kwa saizi ni miaka miwili na nusu, unashindwa ni hapa ni Afrika ama iko wapi? Unaona, so si uongo, ni ile tu wale ambao labda wanasiasa wetu ambao wamekuja na hiyo mbinu ama mfumo ya uongo, kwa sababu labda mazingira ambao siasa yetu lilijengwa haikujengwa kwa msingi ya kusema ukweli, lakini ilijengwa kwa msingi ya watu kusema vitu ambazo si za ukweli. Ndio unapata kwamba hata kama umesema uongo, utapata kama kuna baadhi ya viongozi bado watakuja tena waseme tu hapo naye aliteleza kidogo, lakini bado unapata napatiwa nafasi. Na sasa unapata tuko na kizazi kipi ambao wako na fact checking. Unasema hivi, wanakuletea kwa sababu wako na mtandao. Na hiyo ndio shida ambayo sasa unapata maviongozi wako nayo, because the rate at which this generation keep on changing, wamekaa kama kinyonga. Ni kwa sababu tuseme kwamba walienda katika barabara, wakapata kule walikuwa wanaona ni ngumu, wakarudi kwa mtandao. Na hata baadhi umeona vitu ambazo wamepitia wakati walikuwa kwa mtandao, watu ambao labda walishikwa na nini, lakini bado wanaendelea na mfumo, wanakuja nayo mpya, vitu ni vipya. Sasa unapata inakuwa ni shida sana kwa wanasiasa sana sana kupigana nao. Na ukiangalia in 2022, Itumbi was very good, especially in the use of digital space. One person, Itumbi, was very, very good in the digital space. But right now, because you have so many Itumbis, you cannot match them. So that is also
Things are moving fast,
vitu zinaenda sawa. Yeah.
Ndio nakwambia, mimi ukiniambia ati hakuna wanasiasa waongo, Kenya kuna wanasiasa waongo, lakini watu wale wana shida zaidi. Sikiza Ben, kuna watu wale wana shida na kabisa ni wewe mpiga kura, wewe unajua, wewe unapigia mwizi, unajua huyu alikuwa jambazi, tena mwizi wa bunduki, unataka kumuingiza katika bunge. Unajua huyu ni jamaa wa wash ameingia katika serikali, unajua vizuri sana, si ati hujui, unajua huyu jamaa enyewe huyu ni wa wash hata, na unampigia kura, alafu baada yaye una blame William Ruto. Makosa iko wapi? Haya, juzi hapa tu wamama wamepigana mbaya sana. Hao wamama walipigwa kura na nani? Wamepigana mbaya sana, wamepigana.
Wale wamama wale wamama walikuwa nominated.
Hao
kupigiwa kura na mtu yoyote.
Nini ndio ilifanya walikuwa wanapigania nini?
Wewe unajua historia ya nominations.
Yeah.
And that is across the board, by the way, even here in the United States. Hizi nominations nini zinakuanga na mambo mengi, but let us not generalize that.
Yeah.
But this specific case, they were both nominated
legislators,
but they also come from the same area. There was some interest there about affairs, which could be wrong also. Najua sometimes na label hao ni with affairs, but there is something lisamaro lipo na kama lipo njiani, so tutaiwachia hapo. But that was an honorable thing to do in that building. They don't deserve to be in that building, and I hope there will be some disciplinary measures. Can you imagine if there were men fighting there? Can you imagine what would have happened? Saizi ingekuwa everywhere. But I wanted to say something before Ben say something about this, because I do want to hear Ben's part on that. But hii maneno hata mimi Ben akiongea hapa saizi, unajua nilikuwa nafikiria naongea wapi, because politicians are liars in Kenya. Sasa wewe you didn't put the question right for Ben to be able to answer, because and by the way, I love huyu jamaa wa Ibrahim.
Ibrahim Traore. Simplicity. Salary yake ni ile ya jeshi, unajua. Yani hii mali yote unakimbia, angalia hawa hii mali yote wanakimbizana nao, wanaenda nao wapi?
But you see now you said, you Mzalendo, you said the problem ni wananchi. Now, nimeangalia hii game, I have been in this game for a minute. Na nimeangalia, unajua mimi nimeshindwa kuchaguliwa kwa sababu nasema ukweli.
Kuchaguliwa kama unasema ukweli.
Ndio nataka niambie Ben. Ndio nataka niambie. Sasa leo siku hizi mimi nimekuwa mkora. Lazima kwa mkora. Na sasa nimegraduate ya kuwa mkora. Why am I nataka kutetea watu kama Ben? Unajua watu kama Ben wamechagua wale wa jamaa wakora kwa sababu ya nini? Kwa sababu hata hawa wajamaa wazuri kama Jimmy ambao wanaongea ukweli, bahati mbaya wakiingia bunge, they also don't do those things they were saying genuinely that they will do. Sasa wameshapigia Jimmy kura 5 years, hawajaona kitu. Wamepigia Mzalendo muongo, amechukua, na hiyo 5 years hakuna kitu Mzalendo amefanya. Wakiangalia Jimmy na Mzalendo, they are one and the same. So you know what, saizi nipatie 200, wewe enda, kura yangu ndio hiyo, because there's nothing that you are looking forward for. That is the problem, by the way. The system is the problem. The system ndio shida, by the way. So how we will be able to kuchanua hii kitu is by having civic education. Civic education, and that is what is happening right now, by the way. Civic education through the internet. People saizi uingie hii kitu inaitwa ni TikTok. Ingia X space, utapata mayouth wako na meeting hapo, wanasema mimi sitaki hata pesa mtu. And by the way, I have now come to believe that they are really serious about this. But
I'm telling you, they are not joking.
No, na wana matusi, wewe hujaitukana, wana matusi, wewe enda pale ujaribu kuwaambia. They don't want to be told. They don't want to be told. Now, wanda pale wanze kusema unaomba. Acha nikwambia atienda tuacha tuombe. Watakukataza, hawataki maombi. Hawataenda kanisa uombe.
Tuanze na maombi kwanza.
Hawatakukataza my friend. Hawataki maombi. So yes. Our voters also wameteseka. They are not seeing anything different. Wanakuchagua, then all you do unaenda kuongeza wanawake wa sita, magari ni big SUVs, unaenda ufungie milango, manyumba umenunua, that is what they have seen. So they are like, what, you bring your money, kama uko na pesa tukule ukiingia uregeshe. After all utakuwa unaregesha pesa ambazo tushakula. So that is what is happening. How we will change that is by having civic education, and not only having civic education, but also making sure that we are making it easier for these young thugs that to get into leadership, so that parliament can have a mixture of that. Can have a mixture of wamama, si wala wanapigana kwa bunge, vijana, si wala ambao wana, somebody that wako sawa, na wazee. And we'll move, the country will move a step ahead. Afadhali ujenge barabara just kilomita 2 in your 5 years na ukule, then akiingia naye aongeze kilomita 2, lakini barabara ya kudumu. So if everybody does that 2 kilometers, atakuwa ametoka Kitutu cha South, ameingia hiyo constituency nyingine Nyakach, hiyo mwingine ameenda, tumepata barabara mpaka Kisumu because of all those constituencies, because they are intercontinental, they are connected, na hivyo maisha inakuwa rahisi sana. Why do you think even 200 years America is still building roads? Wanabomoa hata zile barabara zao ziko sawa. Why do you think they do that? So hiyo ndio vitu tunapaswa kuangalia, but hizo vitu zitapatikana only when they will elect Jimmy Onkangi. Tukitutu cha South atengeza barabara mzuri. Hiyo tu. That is the only time.
Like pali ambapo labda mko nielewa, nilisema kwamba mambo ya kusema uongo ni mfumo ambayo ama msingi ambayo siasa yetu imekuwa imejengwa. Kwa sababu siasa yetu imejengwa kwa msingi ya kusema uongo, na hiyo ndio watu wanataka kusikia. Sijasema kwamba watu hakuna waongo. Mfumo umeongea juu ya system. Hata ukiangalia ruwaza yao, ama tuseme kwamba the blueprint ya every political party, some of the things that they're putting on the blueprint, especially with our country, they cannot be actualized. And they are almost all of them are the same, So ni ile tu mfumo system ambayo sisi tumeweka, the foundation, msingi gani ambao sisi tuliweka, ama msingi gani ambao tumeweka katika siasa yetu. Siasa yetu ni siasa ya ukabila, siasa ya watu kusema uongo, na hiyo mambo ya kusema uongo na bado watu wanajua, kwa sababu mtu anakuambia kwamba mimi ndakuja hapa nijenge hii na tunakubali. Na baada tuna ile hata energy kusema kwamba hapo na ulikuwa umekosea. Unapata kama kuna baadhi ya viongozi hata baada kusema hivyo bado watakuwa nasema kiongozi huyu ni mzuri. So inafaa watu wabadilishe mfumo ambao wanatumia kuchaguana, tusichague watu ambao wanatuambia vitu ambazo hawawezi tupatia, ama wanatuambia uongo ambao si hadi ambayo tunajua vizuri si za ukweli. Baada inakuja tu kwa wananchi au wenyewe ndio wamekuwa na wabadilishe wazo, tuseme kwamba mapinduzi ya fikra, tukuwe na mapinduzi katika fikra zetu sisi ambao tunapiga kura. Ni viongozi gani labda sisi tunataka, na tutoe sifa zao zote. Baada sifa alafu tutakuwa tunasema tumetoa sifa ya mtu kusema ukweli. Kama ni huyu mtu, kama ni Ben mtu wa kusema ukweli, hiyo sifa yake unaweka tick. Kama ni mtu si wa kusema ukweli, unaweka wrong. Alafu tutakuwa naangalia amepata asilimia ngapi kwa hizi sifa zote ambao sisi tunaangalia. Alafu sasa tutakuwa na mfumo mzuri.
Gypsy Corner is saying, Jimmy will never have a perfect Kenya in my life. Sort out the corruption first. You know, I agree with you. How do we? But Gypsy, you need to give us a formula of sorting out corruption. We have tried it. That I think corruption should be part of the syllabus, and it should be part
Mzalendo,
of the syllabus in Kenya.
I don't think like corruption should be part of the syllabus. The corruption itself, where does corruption usually takes place?
Corruption is everywhere. In schools, everywhere.
hata kwa nyumba
hata mtoto wako anaweza kuwa na kucorrupt na ujui.
Angalia, chukua mfano katika nchi sana sana Kenya, unapata kwamba corruption is majorly on the government issues, yeah? And the same government munataka investigate that corruption. How is that one possible?
No, look, you see,
ngoja mzalendo tu kidogo.
There are laws, you know, we need to
interrupt kidogo mzalendo.
Yeah. Sema.
Unajua Ben mwenyewe, Ben huyu. Unajua Ben hapa. Saizi akitaka apate certificate of conduct. Anajua itachukua 2 weeks. Lakini kwa sababu ako na job interview. Yeye mwenyewe anachukua 2000 anaenda anapeana junior waka
huyu hapa alafu anatuambia hapa anatupatia
anakuja kutuambia ati corruption iko kwa government. How are you a government Ben?
No, I'm not a government, but like if the major corruption, we are talking on the major corruption.
No, corruption is corruption. There's no major corruption. Corruption is corruption. So long as unapeana ongo, wewe you are corrupt. You are just like that leader who is stealing millions of shillings. Ukipeana polisi 200, 300, wewe ni mwizi tu kama huyo mwingine anaiba. Si hakuna kitu kingine.
Nimeenda kuapply kitambulisho. Naenda kuapply kitambulisho and I'm telling Ben corruption mali iko. Naenda kwa huduma, nimeapply kitambulisho, naambiwa hii kitambulisho itachukua 1 month kutokelezea. Na mimi nimesema ni sawa. Kitambulisho nimeenda wiki kimetoka. Sasa naambiwa kitambulisho kiko hapa kimetoka, ni printing peke yake kinataka. Wanataka pesa. That is corruption. And that is not the government. Hiyo ni mtu mmoja ambaye ameandikwa job hapo kwa, and they look for how to make money on top of what they are being paid as workers. Wamefunikia hizo process, they actually make this thing delay for nothing. Kitambulisho you can actually get it within a day, 2 days.
A day.
Yes, but they make it ikuwe ni process ndefu ndio another thing, SGR Mzalendo going to SGR, ukichukua SGR kwenda Mombasa. I don't know Ben if you have discovered this. Sometimes akia Mungu wana block online. Now, if you have somebody, you just pay $500 shillings more, una printiwa ticket. You wonder hiyo space imetoka wapi? Yani train inaenda Mombasa empty. Kwa sababu wameblock, wanauza ticket. You can't get tickets online. You have to call somebody. Na ukipigia mtu anakuambia wash your ID nini ndio hii code. Kwa simu enda print. Nilishanga hizo vitu bwana. Kuingia kwa, I'm telling you. That's how nimeangalia kuangalia hakuna
Kenya needs an Elon Musk.
Corruption ni ngumu kuua.
Tunatoka Elon Musk kuja Kenya streamline vitu. I want to tell you a story just as we wind up. Unaona hiyo roundabout ya Nyayo roundabout. So every time when I'm driving from Embakasi where I live, nikikuja hivi Nyayo, imekuwa there was a notorious police officer hapo kwa just after hiyo bridge ya Nyayo ndio ingie Nyayo. You know, if you are on the last lane on the left, you are heading towards town. You are supposed to take that. You are not supposed to enter the roundabout. Ukienda at hiyo nini. So also since tulikuwa naenda town, huyo officer alikuwa anajificha tu hapo. Akikuona tu umeingia kwa hiyo lane na ukajifanya ukaingia hapo because it's a speeding lane, inaenda kama imeenda. So ukiingia hapo definitely utaingia mbele hizo magari zingine ukienda. So mimi nimeshikwa mara kadhaa hapo mara umetoa 200, mara umetoa 500. Sasa siku moja nikasema hapana, I am not going to be corrupt. Nimesema hii corruption I have to fight it. Lazima huyo nijue ni nini. Leo hii kitu tunaenda nayo mpaka kotini.
5,000.
Mimi huyo nimekuja. Bahati mbaya nika make the same mistake again, akanisimamisha bwana. Nikamwambia bazee, nimekuwa customer wako sana, lakini leo nifunge. Nifunge. Anakuwa na pikipiki, akaniambia nifuate. So unamfuata hapo Nyayo, mnaingia hapo, there's a police station hapo Nyayo. Anaanza kukuambia sasa, wewe hii kesi yako unajua fine ni 10,000. Ndio afande. So unataka aje? Niandike hii kitu. Naambia andika hii kitu, andika kwanza, unakosa pesa mingi sana huko kwa barabara. Ungeshaandika hii kitu tukutane kotini mara moja. Do you know, I wasted my time there like all 5-6 hours nikiandikiwa tu ka charge sheet, which tena unaenda unailipia huko traffic headquarters huko nini, instead of this is a very very simple system. Polisi akikuwa pale ya kukushika, na siku hizi number plates ziko digitized kama ni traffic offense, let the police officers have cameras on their body, those body cameras. Polisi wa Marekani wako na body camera.
No, they cannot, that require a lot of investment, my brother.
That investment is there. Kuwa na hiyo body we are fighting corruption, my friend. We are fighting corruption. And the reason why we are fighting corruption, because we want to start with the easiest, these police officers on the road. Their cameras have to be on. Akikushika, charge ndio hii. Na charge wewe unajua, ukishikwa ni lazima utalipa so much, na utaenda kuilipa, na ikuja either kwa M-Pesa, umechajiwa na unapatiwa duration. You can pay it within a month or two, ulipe. That way we will have curbed corruption, and the fines would be maybe 500, 2,000 or 2,000 Kenya shillings. That is okay. Instead of having all these officers lining up looking for money and being chased by EACC up and down, wanakimbizwa kama maswara na mapesa wamebeba zijima wameiba. It's not acceptable. This is something so simple. They can do it if they want. Because we know police officers traffic officers are thugs. The wanaiba. Tunajua hiyo. Na si hata Ruto anajua hao watu wanaiba. But what are they doing about it? Nothing. Murkomen anajua yeye anatoka kule Karen na ashatoa ongo mara ngapi kwa barabara. Wanajua watu hapo ndio wanakulia. But what is he doing about it? They're doing nothing. So Jimmy, we have reached a point where in Kenya we are tolerating too much of everything. You know, we are tolerating things that we can solve. Things like corruption, we still tolerate them. The lies the president is saying, people are still tolerating him. The opposition leader coming to join the government and giving us a lot of rubbish, people are still tolerating that kind of nonsense. You know, it is high time Kenyans wake up. But anyway, we have done 2 hours of this particular show. I think we have exhausted our points. I want you guys to now give me your closing remarks so that we let everybody have a good night. I think the show has been wonderful, and thank you for being a part of this show. Let's go, Brother Ben.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm seeing my friend Gypsy Corner is over there. To me, what I would want to say is that I think like our political leaders or the people that we call our leaders, they should concentrate on discussing about the issues, especially when issues arise. Let's stop politicizing that issue. That one is making us not to solve the issues, and the blame games, you know, it doesn't help. It will always create those tensions for no good reason, you know. So, and hopefully they will change, and next Friday we will be here again to discuss the politics of the week.
Oh, Jimmy, mheshimiwa kutoka
Yes,
Kitutu Kitutu Chache, and
if I
nawaambia watu wewe ni mbunge mtarajiwa kule Kitutu Chache. Jimmy is just no ordinary panelist here. Huyu ni mtu amejaribu kuwa mwakilishi katika bunge. I hope that when you get this seat you'll be an honorable member of parliament but not an honorable member of parliament. Karibu, tuambie neno lako la mwisho.
Asante sana mzalendo. Mimi kitu ningependa kuhimiza watu wetu ni kwamba tusikufe moyo. Let's keep the faith because things don't just happen overnight. Even as Kenya is going backwards, there's an opportunity again that we can actually thrive. Hii ambao tunapitia saa hizi ni funzo ya sisi kwa kujua next time tukielect a leader tusiangalie au tusikize uongo mwingi, tuangalie mtu ambaye anaweza tuletea manufaa Kenya. Lakini pia nao sisi kama wapiga kura ndio shida kubwa sana. We are the biggest problem, by the way. In fact, ukiangalia hata hii corruption tulikuwa tunaongea, it is also part of us, because if we stop giving bribes, then the system will work. And when the system works, you will not be able to get ticket. Mzalendo, ulikuwa customer kwa miaka mingi sana kwa huyu jamaa mmoja hapo Nyayo Stadium. If you had stopped that, ungekuwa na shida, ungekuwa umelipa hiyo 10,000 na utafanya tena siku nyingine, kwa sababu 10,000 ni pesa mingi sana, lakini 200 ni kidogo. So sisi wenyewe ndio shida. So ni kuhimiza watu wetu tuendelee kujadiliana, tuendelee kuja kwa show every Friday when we get a chance. I know sometimes lives are busy, the times are also differences ni ngumu, but ni vizuri kuhimizana, kujuana, ni poa sana hata kwa roho peke yake. Kuna kama leo nimejua ndugu yangu Ben, it's nice to meet you again. Next Friday tukutane tuongea again another rising issue. Ni mzuri sana when we are communicating. Asante sana.
All right, viewers, we come to the yet another show, and we have been having a very wonderful panelist this evening. As we wrap up tonight's discussion, we have explored stakes of battles shaping up in Kenya's political landscape. The controversy, the national debate, the decisions that shape the country's future. We have also seen the UDA grassroots elections that are coming up. We hope that there will be no violence. We hope that it will be a very, very, very peaceful election and transition. Now, the takeaway today is that we need to be bold enough. We need to be bold as Butere Girls drama team. We need to start saying the truth. We need to articulate our issues. We need to tell the politicians the truth. And we need not to hide and government and invite government into our lives. Maybe positive governance in Kenya can bring a lot of change and the change that we need as a country. But if we keep quiet and these politicians get their way, watatukalia sana. And with that, I want to thank Brother Ben. I want to thank Jimmy. I want to thank Gypsy Corner. I want to thank One Dem 99. I want to thank everybody who was tuned in. Ayoki, Benson, Kennedy Sankara, Mike, Kiprotich. Asanteni sana for being part of the Afrique family. Until Friday next week, this is Mzalendo. And see you and have a good morning in Kenya and a good night kama wale wengine wanatoka pande ya Marekani, kama ndugu yangu wale wako hapa katika hii panel wako pale Marekani. Asanteni sana na tuonane jioni ya leo. We'll have other shows led by one Mike. Mike will be here for the first time in the evening to bring another epic show. Karibuni sana, and make sure that you stay tuned to Afrique 24.